guys, and welcome to my season 7 review for Doctor Who. You know that I like to get dolled up for you guys for the review. I chose a wine color for fall. But yeah, so I have my notes with me because normally I try to like memorize most of what I'm going to say and only glance a couple of times, but I have been filming a lot of videos for Doctor Who December. So I apologize if you see me looking down a lot because my head is a little kind of all over the place when it comes to Doctor Who currently. The first thing that I wanted to address because I know a lot of people said, you shouldn't do the review before you see the specials, and for the most part, I believe I have always done the review right after the season, and then I would do the specials, even with after the 4th season and whatnot. It's kind of just how I always did it, and I might, you guys can let me know if you would like me to do a review after or something similar to that after everything that I'm going to view in December, or I could do a Q&A or something. However, if that is the case, it will take up a week, I believe. I'm going nonstop when it comes to Doctor Who currently with filming and doing all of these videos for my Doctor Who December. That, January, I'm giving myself a break. So please let me know if you would like me to do that. But again, that means that I probably the first week I would be coming back with a review and or Q&A or whatever you want to call it, instead of the first reaction to season 8. So just, let me know what you think about that down below. Okay, so now I'm just going to get into this review because I feel like there's a lot to cover. So the first thing that I wanted to say that this season felt like two very, very different seasons to me, split in half, which I think is the first time that we ever really did that mid-season. Now, I believe that you guys said that there was a bit of a break. You had at least a little bit of a break between, it's like 7:05 and the Christmas special, and then I don't know how much time, but it probably felt a little more fleshed out for all of you, whereas for me, it was it was a bit jarring because it was, and I'm not really saying that in a bad way, just it was very noticeable that everything kind of just changed. And obviously, I got caught off guard with the Angels episode. I didn't know that I was... And it made me go into panic mode when it came to like 11 as the Doctor, because I kind of had it in my head, that if I was going to lose companions and or the Doctor, it would kind of always be a finale or a special or something like that, because that tended, that was kind of the tendency of the show. And then when that didn't happen, I was like completely taken aback. I've said this before, I believe the first half of the season really kind of focused on a family atmosphere. Now that I look back at it, now that I kind of went back and rewatched some of the episodes, it really seemed like a lovely farewell to Amy and Rory, having, those sort of I felt really great, really fun episodes written for them. And, kind of the thread of, whether or not they're going to kind of leave the Doctor, which fate kind of decided that for them, which is kind of the tragedy of it all. They kind of decided like, oh, we are going to go travel with the Doctor within the universes and, adventures and things like that. And then, again, fate decided that for them. Okay, so now I'm going to go into the second half. What I loved that we did have a shift I felt the feel of the show, though that's, I believe, what's supposed to happen for Doctor Who. It's a little more upsetting to me this time than any other time, because I feel like Eleven, Amy, and Rory were kind of my favorite team, like whatever you want to call it, partnership, whatever, that it was difficult. It was very difficult to lose them. But not, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to like this next kind of era that we're going into, which I feel like we're kind of just sort of starting. But I loved that, see if I can get this right, that the emphasis was kind of more so when Clara came into the picture, that, that is, it was kind of interesting, that it was more about the mystery of her, and it wasn't like somebody who was going to have, and please don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that she won't ever have a very deep emotional connection to the Doctor, but I'm saying, like, when she started off, how, like, Amy, because, he met her as a child at first and all of that stuff, and she'd, had this whole kind of life of, like, the Raggedy Man and her imaginary friend or whatever, it was very emotional right off the bat. Whereas it was kind of nice to see that not trying to get replaced, or them trying to do the same story, just a couple of things changed. And I liked that they kind of really focused on the mystery of Clara. Okay, I have so many notes. Okay, so when the next thing that I have here is, I really liked going back and seeing Clara in the premiere of the kind of season, and kind of setting in motion, at the time, I was so confused, guys. Oh my God, go back to that reaction. I was like the whole time like, because here's the thing. I have seen like posters or pictures or whatever, I don't know, whatever, of the 12th Doctor and Clara together. I have seen that just out in the universe and the Twitterverse or whatever it is. I've seen those two together. So I knew that actress was going to become a companion at some point. And but I did not know, so I do know that whenever Matt goes, I do know that she will surpass it, or like in time wise or whatever, season wise. I do know that. But so I was so confused, and I was sitting there like, I feel like that's the next companion, but I don't, but maybe not, and I certainly wasn't going to go and Google or anything like afterwards. That's the one thing about watching these shows when you're doing reactions and people are kind of depending on your reactions, that you can't Google, because I could get a big spoiler thrown in my face, like the first line or whatever of anything that I Google. So I just sort of let it be. But I, was very confused. And I just literally just said to myself, like, I guess I got it mistaken, or maybe she just looks like her. I don't know. Like, it was so weird. But anyway, I really enjoyed having that sort of, that being kind of the first episode. And I thought that it was really kind of interesting, and like an kind of mystery, which was a very upfront mystery. I felt it wasn't the most subtle mystery, like you would say maybe like Bad Wolf was kind of, it was there, we were aware of it, but it was very subtle and but there's a lot of like, as soon as you figure out like, how is this girl in all of these kind of different time periods, you're really thinking like, what the even is going on? And I feel like 11 felt that too. So moving on from that, there were 3 episodes that I very, very, very much enjoyed. I had such a good time, and it was funny because I guess maybe there was a part of me that probably should have guessed that these were kind of the last episodes of Amy and Rory, because I enjoyed them so much, and I was like, wow, these are really good. This season's gonna be so good. I love every episode. Like, I was so happy and excited and, all of that. And it was just so funny because now that I go back and look at it, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That they really wanted to kind of, and I do know that a lot of people don't really like some of those episodes, that they think that they're kind of weak, but I really like dinosaurs and I really like Westerns, and I really like Amy and Rory. And yeah, just saying. So I was having such a great time, and then, then comes, Angels Take Manhattan. The Angels Take Manhattan? Angels Take Manhattan. One of those. And it literally hit me like, a ton of bricks. Really great. Super excited about the whole thing. And I will, get more into that a little bit later. But obviously, I feel like this season is so, put into little parts. And then we had the Snowmen Christmas special, which I really enjoyed. It wasn't my favorite episode of the season, but it was fine. It was good. I think I try not to get sort of swayed by any sort of overhype, but I do remember from early on, that, like, seasons 1, season 2, when people would talk about Christmas specials and the ones that they really liked, everybody would say like, oh my God, I love the Snowmen. A lot of people would say. I don't want to say everybody. Because none of us agree on anything, as you guys will see when we get to my top 5 episodes of this season. And it was kind of funny that, I would hear that, and then I don't know if it was like I'm still reeling from Amy and Rory. I did watch that just a week after, and I didn't even know it was coming. Like, but I had to rewatch it for the review because I was like, I was kind of in a haze. Like, I feel like I don't know. So I don't know if it was like I was still mourning or whatever, but it didn't jump out at me as much as I thought it would for being as talked about as it was. But that happens sometimes. And I do try to not pay attention to that stuff. So I did really like The Bells of St. John, though really getting into the mystery of Clara again, and just kind of, I liked that they were slowly sort of building up, and we had some moments within the later half of the season, with Journey into the Center of the TARDIS, and the conversation that Clara has in Nightmare in Silver, and that stuff with the evil doctor, and it's interesting that they kept like bringing up the subject, and it was kind of like it was a great way to kind of remind us of this mystery, and just display frustration, like, what is it, like, who are you, lady? And I really enjoyed that. But it was kind of, I wasn't like really like, oh my God, I need to find out right now. It was because I kind of like Doctor Who taking its course when it comes to the plot sometimes, and which I think I've greatly changed in that since when I started watching the show. I think when I started watching the show, I was craving more plot oriented stuff, though there were kind of little things. I believe kind of the first few seasons, there were a lot of standalone episodes, some really, really great standalone episodes, but that was kind of how it was. And it was kind of interesting to, you know, for me to be like, okay, I can slow it, because I think like season 5, or I would say especially season 6, they really were like throwing a lot at you, and you were like, oh my god. So it was kind of nice to take a bit of a breather and have this mystery, but not have us trying to figure out each story still was its own story. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the Rings of Akhaten a little bit, because I am aware that it is not thought of a very fond. People don't think very fondly of it. Here's what I think of it. I think the music is sweet. I think kind of with the little girl was very sweet. I liked the concept. The story for me, I do kind of agree in the sense that I was happy. What I'm going to say about Rings is that it made me feel happy, because obviously let's not shit anybody or joke anybody about what are the basis of my reactions that a lot of people enjoy, and that is my emotional connections to the characters, no matter who it is, be it Mickey in the first 2 seasons, and then later Martha and Donna, and then Amy and Rory in 11, River. I have there are some characters that I have very deep emotional connections with, and I was scared. I was scared that I wasn't going to feel that emotional feeling, though I still had my baby, 11. I had this sort of like reservation of, oh God, and I totally open mind, because a lot of people tell me, like, oh, when there's a new companion after some companions, or, with Amy and Rory, that you really, really love, you're just gonna have your wall up or whatever. And I didn't feel like I had my wall up. I liked, and I like Clara, and I'm excited to see what else there is. But it's definitely, I was concerned, because I really had a deep love, for Amy and Rory, and I was like, God, I hope that I can still get those emotional beats with the show, and it doesn't kind of go back a bit to kind of when I started watching, where I just didn't connect with Rose. I didn't connect so much with 9 or 10 as the Doctor, and I was like, oh God. But so I think I will always think very fondly of the episode, because of the fact that Matt's speech in that episode made me lose my mind. I agree with the assessment that I think it would have been better if they ended on the Doctor. I hope that makes sense, because of everything that he's been through, because he delivers that speech so well. That would have been a great ending point. I do like the idea that they had Clara kind of come in and help. It's nice that she's, willing to put herself out there and things like that. But it was definitely I just felt so much after that speech, during that speech. I think if you kind of look at the Snowmen episode, and how, Madame Vastra, did I say that? I don't know if I said that right. Talked about the Doctor, and that, he was kind of going through some stuff, and he didn't even have a bow tie, and there was some things, going on with the Doctor, and he was mourning. He was mourning the loss of who I believe was very close to him being a family, obviously, at least with 11, you know, and so I felt like it was really, there was this release with that speech. Now, I believe that the speech was talking about everything that he's gone through. I'm not trying to say that the whole speech was just about Amy and Rory, but I feel like a lot of the emotion, the outlet, was a lot like him kind of releasing a little bit of frustration because of how alone he becomes. Sorry, I'm like, I feel tears coming, but I think it's really sad to see him over and over again have to lose people. And a lot of times he loses people, he saves them. Like, unfortunately, and I'm not saying that this wasn't tragic, but like everything that happened with Donna, it was kind of the right thing to do for her to save her life. You know what I'm saying? Does that kind of make sense? And Rose was kind of that was an unfortunate circumstance. Martha, I was kind of really happy with her exit. It was like the only like really happy one where she kind of, and she ended up with Mickey. And if you end up with Mickey, you're just like set for life. But for it to just be so tragic and so recent with Amy and Rory, I think, yeah, there was a release coming from that. And I felt it. I really wanted to have a moment with the like I'm on screen with him, but like with the Doctor, that I feel your frustration and sadness and all of that. So, that meant a lot to me. And so I kind of wanted to get into that because I know that a lot of people don't like that episode, because I've gotten that from a lot of people, but that performance was and exactly what I personally was looking for. And again, I like emotional attachments to characters. I like going through and seeing the pain and the journeys that characters go through, and I care more about character-driven emotions and things like that than I do about like the best story in the world. Do you guys hear that siren? I don't know if you can hear. I swear, every time I play it back, like there's a loud siren that just goes by, and I always go like, oh my god, do you guys hear that? And then when I play it back, when I edit and stuff, you can't hear anything, and I just sound crazy. So maybe I sound crazy there too. Okay, so now I'm just going to go, I'm kind of like going through the whole season a little bit, but now I'm going to go into the next 5 episodes after Rings that, to me, when I was watching them, and if you can tell, I don't know how much you could tell, but I kind of powered through the last few. Because I had to start recording for Doctor Who December, and this was way before I actually announced that I was even doing Doctor Who December. So I was just like going through, if you can tell, and this is how you can tell in my channel, my nail polish didn't change. For some of the videos, for like a good portion of the videos, like my nail polish didn't change. So that's how you can tell, like when I do it all in 1 week or something like that, because I change my nail color every week. Fun fact about me. But yeah, so it was funny because I had to kind of go and rewatch them because they kind of all like bled together because of that, like because I filmed them so close together. I personally like to having a bit of time between filming, which is why I don't like to power things out like as fast as some maybe other reactors do or whatever. I like to do 1 a week, and I think that that's a great pace, at least for my channel. But yeah, I had to kind of film them all up because I had 31 videos to film for Doctor Who December. At this point, just so you guys know, I have filmed 14. Just, in case you're, so almost halfway. And but they were all, none of them really jumped out at me, and I wasn't like, oh, that's the best thing I've ever seen. However, I enjoyed all of them, and I took little notes on every aspect. Each episode had an aspect that I really, really enjoyed, even if the overall episodes maybe weren't my favorite in terms of story, in terms of, you know, character development, whatever it is that, you know, we kind of look for. So just going through, because I wrote down the kind of like the plus sides. Cold War, I really liked the professor. His character was just amazing. I love seeing Davos, obviously. But the thing that really stood out is seeing Clara's real response to being out there. There was something that I really sympathized. I joke all the time when I think about when I am watching that I would be the worst. I wouldn't be a companion. Like, I wouldn't be the worst companion because I wouldn't even get into the. Some man in a bow tie, Matt, I love you. You're amazing. But like some man in a bow tie that you don't know is like coming to my TARDIS and like, no, that's how very unfortunate things happen to. No, I just absolutely. It's just so funny, and I think. That was one of the things that I gravitated towards Mickey at first, because Mickey was like, "You crazy?" Like, I loved that, and that's why, like, I initially was like, "He's me. I get it." Where, you know, I think, and a lot of times they just go, and they're like, "Okay, sounds good. Let's have adventures," and there's maybe a little bit of skepticism and stuff, but not a ton. What I loved in Cold War is that, you know, Clara, she still went on the journey, and she still, you know, is curious. But I liked that we kind of saw a real response to, like, you know, the dead bodies and everything, and she was not having a good time. And I like that. I hope they explore that a little bit more, that things can be kind of terrifying. And I know that they can't get too dark with stuff. I think they can actually get dark with some plot lines and some companion exits and things like that. However, they don't get too, like, really fucked up, you know what I mean? But I would like them to kind of explore it a little bit. And I don't know what's to come, but, you know, and this was just a really small taste, but I enjoyed that. Hyde was not my favorite. However, I did like the sweet ending to it all. It was a very, in my opinion, 11 Matt Smith ending. Very kind of lovely. And the big creature, and he calls him Romeo, and it was like those last few minutes made me love the episode even more than and you know what it is, because I love a scary story. I love, like, to be scared, and I love things getting dark and twisted, but I never find, like, ghost stories very scary, so I wasn't really freaking out anyway. So I think maybe if it was another type of, like, horror scary story in the beginning, maybe I wouldn't have liked that they switched it. But because I don't know, I kind of loved it, and it made me, like, I just felt all of the feels at the end. So the ending was really, really great for me for that. Journey to the center of the TARDIS. I loved seeing more of the TARDIS, spending some time in the TARDIS. That is so much fun whenever we can do that. And it doesn't happen that often. I know there was, like, you know, the episode where the Doctor's wife, right? That was the Doctor's wife, where they, Amy and Rory, kind of got trapped, and it was terrifying with the TARDIS. And, you know, and then, and I liked the brother storyline. I liked the kind of really sad realization that the guy, like, he wasn't, you know, a robot. android, I think is what they said. And just because it was a joke. And it's just, it was a great way to kind of shine a light on like how like a joke can just go too far and just doesn't, oh my God. It was just, it was really something, I gotta say, when I was watching that. I just thought it was, I liked the story with the brothers. Again, not my favorite. I liked the confrontation scene as well with 11 and Clara, where you can tell he's getting frustrated. Like, who are you, lady? That was my internal monologue the whole time. The crimson. I can speak. Horror. Oh my God. Out of those 5, that one was definitely my favorite. I am a really big fan of I have to make sure I say it right, Paternoster gang. I love them. I hope we see more of them. I want more of them, especially Strax. I mean, I love Vastra. I love Jenny. I want more of them. I'm obsessed, and especially obsessed with Strax. Strax is becoming one of my new favorites. He's just flying up my favorites list. I just absolutely would love to see more of them, because they are a good time. They're fierce. They're loyal friends. It's just, I absolutely love them. I cannot get enough of them. I loved there was part of me that was like, we got pretty far into the episode and I was like, oh, we haven't seen the Doctor or Clara yet. I didn't mind. I didn't mind at all. I could do a whole episode with them, just them, or a spinoff. I would love there to be a spinoff with them. That would be great. It was really, I felt like the whole thing was a really fun story. It's not the most sentimental story. It's not the most, brilliant story, but it was a good time. It was fun, and sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that kind of really fun, silly story, and I felt that that's kind of what that was. The parasite thing was really gross, and I was not feeling that, but, other than that, I thought that, it was a great, lovely story, and I feel like, it's kind of funny when I think about, like, the episodes when I go into these, like, past seasons, which ones I rewatch over and over again. I feel like that would be the one, or one of the ones that I would rewatch a lot from this season. And Nightmare in Silver, going into that, I loved Matt's acting. And I love the Cybermen. I'm a big fan of any sort of Cybermen stories. So, yeah. And I thought Matt killed it. And I'm sure it was very difficult for him. So, yeah. Let's see. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I just have a couple more things that I want to kind of go through. But the first thing that I'm going to talk about, I've been getting a lot of criticisms about me being kind of content with everything. I kind of talked about it a little bit more earlier, but and people are like, oh, she just likes every episode. I can't help it that I really enjoy watching Matt as the Doctor, because I think that that's at the core what I really love. And if an episode has 11 as the Doctor, it already has one check in my like good column. I'm nervous for the specials that I'm about to watch, which one will be released on Christmas Eve and one will be released on New Year's Eve, just so, in case anybody doesn't know or remember. I'm really nervous about the specials. Let me be very, very clear, because it's kind of scary, because I feel like he might regenerate. I don't know, though. I don't know. Now, when I get to 12, I will know, because I know that he's regenerating like in real time now, like where you guys are. And stuff like that. But so I will be informed. I knew when 10 was going, but I don't know. And I have a feeling it's either going to be in these specials or sometime in season 8, because I feel like that would be a really long stint if he was the Doctor longer, which he could be. I don't know, but you know what I'm saying. Like, so I'm trying to prepare myself and mentally trying to get myself ready. But I do not want to lose him. I'm interested to see how I feel about 12 whenever I get there. That's going to be something to kind of get into. But yeah, you guys can let me know in the comments if you think I'm going to like 12 or not like 12 or be indifferent. Is he going to overtake 11? But, I don't know. I have no idea. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people kind of always say, like you're content with, you're just too content with the episodes and stuff like that. However, you should watch my seasons 1 and 2 reactions if you think I'm content with the episodes. Okay, so a lot of people, I feel like, are asking me, by the way, I still have to get to my top 5 episodes, which is why I haven't talked about the finale yet. I'll get there. A lot of people have asked me about my thoughts on Clara and to talk about her and sort of, my feelings on her, if I like her, if I don't. My response is it's so funny because every single time that I've had somebody talk about Clara to me, they either say they love her or they hate her. Like, that's it. Those are your options. There's no in between. And I feel like I'm in between. I do not have that deep connection with her yet. I do not, I feel like I got very drawn to Donna pretty early on, Makey obviously, and Amy and Rory both. I think I liked them pretty right off the bat. And with Clara, she's about maybe like Martha level to me. If you guys have been watching me and kind of know. So I like her. I think she's great. I think she's a great companion. I think she's useful. I love how caring she is. I think that's like the thing that kind of really comes through with her, is that she's a very compassionate person. But I'm still in the middle. Not super in love, not super hating. Kind of, yeah, I mean, like, I think that she's had like a few like really, really great moments. I'm just looking at my notes of what I've kind of what I thought was interesting is that we got kind of an answer to her mystery, which is going to kind of bring me into my top 5 episodes, because that was really great. I didn't know that we were going to get it this season, or until the specials, or maybe until other seasons. Like, I thought it could actually be an arc that goes on for a really, really long time. More kind of also, how, though River wasn't in every episode, but, kind of like, who is River? The identity of River was kind of a thing that was always there, but it wasn't like super addressed in every single episode that she was in. I was like, it could have been like that, and we don't find out until season 8. We don't find out until season 9. We don't, whatever it is. You guys are going into season 11, right? There's been 10. So it's hard to keep track sometimes because I just don't look. I can't look up stuff. And I really just like I was unaware if things were going to be kind of addressed right away with this season or anything, and that was kind of interesting. Anyway, so now I'm going to go into my top 5 favorite episodes for this season. And I believe at some point somebody said a joke to me that, like, you know, your top 5 episodes of this season are going to be like the first 5, like, scrambled around. It's fairly accurate. Pretty close. Just because, I mean, it's no secret that I love Eleven and Amy and Rory, all right? Like, get off me, though. All right, so number 5 is The Power of Three. Such great moments, such great moments. I felt like I wasn't as into maybe the story as much as I was in the previous 2, because the previous 2 just had a bunch of stuff that I really, really loved. But I loved The Power of Three. I thought it was really cool to see kind of them all together at the end. Little did I know that it was I wrote a little, I do these like favorite TV moments of the week thing, and I wrote this like long speech of how after The Power of Three, I wrote this long fucking essay about how much I was so excited to see the adventures of the 3 together now that it's been decided that they're going. So that didn't go very well for me. But, yeah, anyway, I really, really liked the scene with the Doctor and Amy. I loved that Rory's dad was in it, and that it kind of was, you know, essentially at this point, I know, like the last hurrah of this sort of family unit that we've grown to love, or at least I've grown to love. Number 4 is Dinosaurs on a Spaceship. It was a little ridiculous. There was a lot of stuff going on. It was really crazy, but I was into it. I love sci-fi. I am a bigger fan of going like spaceship-y Doctor Who episodes than I am of like going back in time Doctor Who episodes, with a couple of exceptions. But yes, I love you know, spaceships. I love dinosaurs. I did not love the Triceratops dying. I was not happy about that. And you know, the bad guy was horrible, and you know, but I wasn't the biggest fan of I was more into following like the, you know, 11 and Rory and his father than, you know, Amy's group, but it was really fun anyway. And I just had such a blast watching that. And I just remember watching that and being like, this is such a fun episode. And I really enjoyed it. So it snags the number 4 spot on my list. Number 3, going right on after, is A Town Called Mercy. I love Westerns. I love Westerns. I love Deadwood. On a sci-fi level, I love Firefly. I'm a big fan of, and I don't ask me why, there's a new Netflix miniseries. What is that one called? Oh God, I'm blanking on the name. But I am so excited for that, guys. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Hopefully if you Google like Netflix Western new series, it's like A Town Full of Women. Has like Denise from The Walking Dead and like a ton of amazing actors, like one right after the other. Mary, from, sorry, that has nothing to do with Doctor Who. Anyway, I'm really excited for that show. And I just absolutely, but not only that, I loved the plot. I loved the plot of A Town Called Mercy. I thought it was kind of cool to see, you know, this sort of moral dilemma. I love when that stuff gets explored, kind of gray areas, and, you know, he makes these like super soldiers, but so to speak, but did it really help anything? And you know, is he a monster in that sense, or is the super soldier a monster? It was just, I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. That is for sure going to be one of the ones that I rewatch over and over again. I mean, absolutely thought it was amazing. Number 2 on the list, now we can talk is the name of the Doctor. Okay, so now we can talk about the name of the Doctor. I enjoyed. The beginning was amazing. I know that maybe it wasn't the best special effects. They had to incorporate Clara with all of the doctors, kind of, sort of, and it was really, but I thought brilliantly done. Got me super excited for the episode. And I liked what happened. I got so emotional when it came to River. That scene. I really like River. I like that she's kind of a constant in the Doctor's life. I felt very similar with, in a sense, with Jack in the first couple of seasons, that they would not like a companion that's with him all the time, but somebody that you can kind of rely on to always be there, sort of good person. And I really loved River. And that scene was really, really tough to watch. And the whole thing, and having, Strax and Vastra and Jenny and, just everything kind of coming full circle. Seeing Gallifrey was amazing. There was just so many amazing points for the name of the Doctor. You can tell that. Now, I have not seen, just so you guys know, as of recording this, I have not seen Day of or Time of the Doctor. And I am watching them soon, though, just so you guys know. So I don't know where it's going to go from here. I was slightly confused with the ending. I hope that gets explained a little bit more, though I don't know. I don't know. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited to see what's going to happen next when it comes to these specials. Because I have heard that they kind of all flow together pretty well. So before I watch Day and Time, I am going to rewatch Name just to, refresh my memory, though I have watched it like twice in recent time, so I think I should be good. But yeah, it was such a wonderful episode. I liked the explanation. I thought it was a satisfying explanation, because sometimes when there's mysteries, I'm not really saying in Doctor Who, just television in general, sometimes the resolution isn't that great. But yeah, so I actually really, really enjoyed the whole story for Name of the Doctor. And now going into number one, and I have to, it's so weird to say this was my favorite of the season, seeing as I was sitting on this couch crying my eyes out, and that is The Angels Take Manhattan. I agree that it's absolutely ridiculous that nobody's looking at the Statue of Liberty and that it's a weeping angel and that it can walk. Like, I mean, that was a bit much. But I mean, dramatic effect, right? I mean, that reaction, I don't think I've felt so blindsided by a reaction or an episode like that. I will say for Doctor Who, there's probably a couple in other shows that maybe are similar that kind of came out of nowhere. For Doctor Who, for me, it's like there's a formula that they've followed so far, and I understand that you guys probably had more preparation about Amy and Rory than I did. But there was kind of a formula that there's like a story. Like, I didn't talk about every single review. I have a theme for every season, and I couldn't really even think of a theme this season because it was such a monster of a season to try to tackle. I think they did a great job for, what they had to do, but it's just, the pressures of introducing a new companion and saying goodbye to old ones and making sure that story gets wrapped up well, but making sure the next story is just as intriguing as, but Angels Take Manhattan, really kind of blindsided me. And it doesn't make me like the Weeping Angels anymore because they took away my favorites. There was the Amy and Rory roof scene, which I thought was kind of, at the time of watching it, the moment, you know, the big moment of the episode. And that was just such a, and I was just so happy that it worked, and I was just thrilled, and everything was great. And then my world came crashing down right before my very eyes. Matt's acting in that final scene still gets to me. There was just so many moments and so many emotional moments for that episode that I have no words for how it made me feel emotionally. And I think, you know, it's a testament to the writers that it's just, they made this unit, for me at least, of these four, if you want to count River, which I don't mind counting her as well, of such a strong, and I love all of them. And though it was tragic, it's the most memorable of the season. It will always be memorable. And how kind you guys were for that episode when I released it, and how sweet you all were was just really great. So, you know, that will be the highlight of this season for me, I think. Yeah. So now I'm just going to get into just a brief, you know, not that I need to say this any more than I already have, but it's not that any of them watch this, but I'm just going to say like a big thank you to Karen and Arthur and Matt, because they made me love Doctor Who. No joke. I loved stories with Donna. I loved stories with Martha. I thought that they were great. You know, there were some really great episodes in seasons 1, 2, a lot in 4, a bit in 3. But it wasn't until Matt became the Doctor and Amy and Rory became the companions that I was excited to record. I mean, like, waiting for the next time that I got to record Doctor Who. And I was so excited, like, oh my god, this is gonna be so good. Oh my god, it's gonna be good again. And, you know, they did that for me. And so I wanted to kind of end the review on that, and like saying thank you to them. I was like, you know, it's stupid, but it that's always going to be really, really near and dear to my heart, that they kind of made me really, really enjoy the show. And now the last little bit, this is actually running a little bit longer than my normal review, so the last little bit that I'm just going to talk about is my Doctor Who December. You guys, starting on December 1st, we're getting right into it. And all I'm going to say about that is, guys, I'm nervous. I am so nervous. I mean, like, I'm excited, but I'm nervous because I'm excited to share these videos with you. Some I've been working on for a long time. Some, you know, are kind of shorter reactions, and then we have kind of the 4 big reactions that was said into the trailer, which is the TV movie Adventure in Space and Time, Day of the Doctor, and Time of the Doctor. So you guys are definitely getting those 4 reactions. I'm going to say this, I think in the first video, I've already recorded that, but, you know, you may not love every single video in the December, you know, like, there's going to be some countdown videos. If that's not really your thing, you may not like those videos. There's going to be mini-sode reactions. You may not like those you know, and there's a couple that are a little different. I don't know. Creative. So, but I really do hope that you guys understand that I wanted to do this to kind of celebrate this show with you guys, and hopefully give you guys something to look forward to. You know, I may not put out the best videos in the world or anything like that, but I do really try for you guys to make something really special, and I hope that you guys are excited for that. And it's honestly like a few days until it starts, and I am so very nervous about it, and I hope that you guys enjoy it, and I hope that it's not a massive disappointment. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. This has been long enough. I mean, high five to those of you that made it through this whole video. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time.